Welcome back to another edition of the Here We Go podcast. As always, I'm your host, Trent Ging, and today I want to talk a little bit about Justin Fields. So I'm not sure if you caught it or not, but Colin and I did a quarterback breakdown using a scenario where both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are no longer with the team in 2025. The point of that exercise was to see what options are out there and are there viable candidates to replace one or both of these guys. To me, it was quite eye-opening. I thought it was very interesting to see that the free agent class is going to really be pretty down. You're not going to have a big splash name unless Dallas happens to let go of Dak Prescott. I mean, he's going to be the only guy I can possibly see making it to free agency. And it's only because Jerry Jones is who he is, and he's willing to get rid of good players if he doesn't feel like they're giving him a chance to win a Super Bowl. Dak is struggling in the playoffs. That's the only kind of wild card in this whole thing. So when I did that exercise, I realized what I think a lot of people will come to realize as the season goes on is the future really might lie in Justin Fields. And that's for better or worse. Justin has some clear-cut issues as a passer, as simply a guy reading field, making his way through progressions timely, and understanding the defenses that he's seeing. Now, the one thing you can argue on his behalf is Chicago is an absolute dumpster fire of a team. They've never developed quarterbacks. They haven't had a quarterback in like 70 years that's a franchise guy. I mean, this team has just not put Justin in the best position to win. Instead, they drafted him highly to be the entire team. They did not surround him with a lot of talent. And once he got DJ Moore, I think you saw a little bit more of the flashes of what he could be. DJ Moore started drawing more attention. It opened the field for guys like Cole Kmet. But let's not make the mistake of saying a guy like Darnell Mooney is a bona fide number 2 receiver in this league. But he was really his next best option. Justin did not have a lot of pieces around him. The offensive line wasn't good. He had some quality running backs. But how much is the running back going to be a quarterback's best friend in the long run? They need playmakers. And he simply didn't have them until last season. Now, it's interesting to see Chicago taking the route of getting Caleb Williams, and putting pieces around that guy. So it brings you a question of, did they really believe in Justin from the beginning? I mean, I'm sorry, but if you draft a quarterback as highly as he was drafted, why wouldn't you? Or else it's a wasted pick. Or did they learn from their mistakes? Which I think is probably the more likely scenario. I actually personally think that Justin's field, his athleticism kind of worked against him in Chicago. Now, whether anybody likes to admit it or not, these guys that are ultra athletic still don't know how to be utilized properly in the NFL. And you could tell very early on in Justin's career that the coaching staff was completely comfortable saying, if your first read isn't there, go ahead and take off. That's exactly what he did. And if they didn't greenlight that, Then no one in Chicago for 3 years did a damn thing about it, did not work with this kid to teach him how to do what an NFL quarterback needs to do, which is read through multiple progressions before you have an opportunity to take off. To me, this is exactly where Tom Arth comes in. Now, Tom Arth is a guy who, even before he got hired, is being talked about as a young, smart coach who some people think is going to be on a fast track to become an offensive coordinator in this league. Well, what better statement to make for his coaching career than to take a Justin Fields and turn him into an actual quarterback? Russ is a savvy veteran. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to need a lot of help from a quarterback coach. So, in my opinion, I actually think this move was made to help a young quarterback. Whether they thought at the time it was going to be Kenny Pickett or now Justin Fields, it doesn't matter. Either way, this guy was being brought in to teach a young quarterback how to play in the NFL, how to correct mechanical mistakes, and take the time to teach Justin how to work through progressions. Most people forget yes, he was in college for 3 years. Of course he was. You can't go to the NFL without being. Yes, he was a 2-year starter, but the second year was a very shortened COVID year. They did not get their regular spring. They did not get their regular summer. They did not practice into the fall before their first season game. Matter of fact, they didn't play their first games. It started late. It was a limited season, and Justin really struggled. He needed that second year, every practice worth of that second year to develop as a quarterback. And Ryan Day, I'm sure, would have helped him. Ryan Day is a very good quarterback coach. He would have worked with him. But he didn't get that second full season, and then he got nothing in Chicago. So, call it a little bit of my Buckeye bias, if you will, but I'm not ready to give up on Justin Fields just yet. The athletic gifts are just too strong to give up on. And I believe Justin has the mental capacity to figure out the parts of his game that are lacking right now. His biggest issue, in my opinion, is that he works through progressions too slow. It was a knock on him at Ohio State. It's been a knock on him in the NFL. I think coaching can teach a guy to work through progressions faster and speed up his internal clock. That internal clock is also why he takes sacks. He takes sacks at a pretty alarming rate, especially for a guy with his athletic ability. Again, yes, Chicago's line was a mess, but there were times he was just holding the ball for 4 and 5 seconds trying to make something happen that wasn't there. If he learns how to speed that internal clock up and see and diagnose quicker, most of his problems will be fixed. It's easier said than done, of course. It sounds very simple. It's not. There are a lot of quarterbacks who don't make it in this league because they can't read and diagnose a play quickly to know which guy to get the ball out to. But it's fixable nonetheless. So it'll be interesting to see how that progression works out with Tom Arth, because while the franchise isn't going to say anything, and while they're certainly going to let this quarterback situation play out this year, and I'm not going to call it a competition because it's not. They brought Justin Fields here to sit behind Russell Wilson, learn Russell Wilson, and have Tom Arth in his ear all the time. Showing him, teaching him, walking him through. Having him be told by Justin what Justin's seeing on the field. How quickly should he be seeing him on the field? If Justin starts to process the game faster and understands how to read progressions, how to read the defenses that he's seeing in front of him, and what his first option should be on each play, along with the next, and when to run, he could turn into an absolutely deadly quarterback in this league. But I think he fell into the old adage, or stereotype, if you will, of the running quarterbacks. It's, oh, you're just so athletically gifted. If your first option isn't there, just go. Well, that does nothing to develop a passer or help his longevity in his career. I don't want my quarterback running the ball 20 times a game. I don't want my quarterback running the ball 15 times a game. I'm completely fine with scrambling. I do not want a running quarterback. Justin's athletically gifted. If he wants to run when he's got an open field in front of him to pick up yardage on busted plays or plays where there's great coverage, I'm all for that. But I don't want to see 10 designed runs or 10 different plays where he just goes through the first read and takes off running. I don't want that. That's not what you need at this level. It's a recipe for disaster. Lamar Jackson's not been healthy a large portion of his career for exactly that reason. Why do you think Baltimore has put so much time into teaching him how to throw the football? I mean, that's where Justin's ceiling needs to be, is Lamar Jackson. He's got the capacity to get there. But the question is, will he get there? And then will Pittsburgh extend him and give him the time to develop? Or is this going to be a one-year thing where they say, if you don't show us something real quick, we're going to look externally? I'm not sure the plan is going to be that way the more that I look at the options, because there's not much there. You're going into a very uncertain draft. And of course, I want to see this draft play out because things change every year, and guys come out of nowhere, and guys that we're not talking about being in the first round are going to skyrocket because of their performances, and they figured something out that maybe they hadn't figured out to that point. So we'll see how things go. But I really honestly am starting to believe that Justin Fields is your best option long term. Because I can tell you right now, of the guys in college, none of them have the skill set of Justin Fields. None of them. You have guys who are going to be different players, maybe even better players. But none of them are going to have the skill set of a Justin Fields. Arthur Smith appears to love the skill set of Justin Fields. Speaking of that, I think it's clear Mike Tomlin has been a Justin Fields fan dating back to his days at Ohio State. He went to the pro day. There's the infamous conversation. That quick conversation was caught on video between the two of them. So I think from the coaching staff standpoint, they're looking at Justin as being an option moving forward. And the more that I think this thing through, I've not thought that Russell was being talked about as a long-term option. Of course, the organization has said, they may extend him after the season. But if Justin Fields could show something, and it came down to it's close between those two, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind they want Justin Fields to be a long-term option. So it's going to be interesting to see if Justin can ever truly reach his potential. But the player is going to be intriguing. I personally want to see him on the field sooner rather than later. I do not think, unless something absolutely catastrophic happens with Russell Wilson, be it injury or he just plays that badly, I don't think we see Justin Fields starting a game until at least week 5. Probably more realistically, somewhere between week 7 and after the bye week. So for those of us, because I'm going to say us because I'm one of them, who want to see him on the field sooner rather than later, I think we're going to have some patience with this because he's going to have to do a lot to beat Russell Wilson out in camp. I mean, I don't think it's just about playing better. Colin and I talked about this. He's going to have to play significantly better because of the turnovers. Mike Tomlin does not like turnovers. I am of the mindset to where, if you're a guy who turns it over, you have to make up for those turnovers. And you have to be coming out ahead. You have to make more plays that no one else can make to offset those turnovers. Justin's capable of being that guy. So I'm kind of in a different mindset where I understand turnovers are extremely costly in the NFL. But he's also a guy who's going to make plays no one else can make. I would live with his issues while he continues to develop and improve. I just don't think that's going to be the world that Mike Tomlin will ever be comfortable living in, which is why Russell Wilson is going to have every opportunity to carry this team for as long as he can carry it. There's going to be a lot that's going to be settled in training camp, as is with every other position. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the two of them in camp. It's interesting to me that they're both working out together, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, that is, which shows that despite a clear-cut competition between the two of them, they both have to have a mindset that they're in a competition. There appears to be no animosity one way or the other with the two of them. That's good for the locker room because you're going to need both of those guys throughout the season. So that's kind of my thoughts on Justin Fields. Let me know what you think. Please drop something in the mentions. Tell me if you think I'm right. Tell me if you think I'm way off base on this. Are you excited for Justin Fields? Are you more excited for Russell Wilson? Let me know what you think. If you like the episode, please like, please share, please subscribe. Hope you all have a great day. See you next time.